Welcome to my review of the Black Diamond Distance 22-liter backpack. As with all my reviews, I'm going to tell you my thoughts and opinions up front. That way, to save you some time, so you don't have to watch the whole video. In my opinion, for my use case, which is fast packing / hiking, this backpack is not my favorite. That's mostly due to comfort as well as just unnecessary features. I'll talk more about that later in the video.
Let's take a look at the weight of this bad boy. It comes in at 14.29 ounces. That is equivalent to roughly 405 grams. The trekking pole attachment, which if you don't know what I'm talking about, I will show you later, comes in at 0.67, which is 19 grams. Here I have the woman's large version of this pack. I'm 6'1", 150 pounds with a 35-inch torso. It fits me well. These side pockets are specifically designed to hold your trekking poles. Taking them out is easy enough, however putting them back in is very difficult, pretty much impossible. I have to take the pack off and put it on my belly in order to stuff them back in, which also isn't easy due to the construction of the bag. You'll see more on that later. You can put other types of trekking poles in here as well. Here I have a foldable 4-piece trekking pole, which folds smaller because it's 4 pieces. It fits in there well. This bag does have an alternative way to store your trekking poles. Black Diamonds calls this the on-the-go trekking pole storage. There's an elasticated band that's at the bottom side of the pack, and then there's another elasticated band that's at the top opposing side. Once I attach both of them, I'll swing the trekking poles over my head. I use my left hand to make sure the trekking pole is in place, and then once it's in place, I tighten it with both hands. In order to release the poles, I loosen the elastic that's at the top side of the pack, and then I swing the trekking poles over my head again. Here, I'm doing the same thing with the trekking poles using the on-the-go storage. However, I have a piece of clothing that's in the black elastic stretch pocket. You can see it bulging out right there. This definitely hampers the ability to store the poles properly. As you can see, the poles are to the side of the pack rather than across, thus causing not as secure of a fit and more bounce. Here's another pack, the Salomon Advanced Skin 12 with the Salomon quiver. Now I don't do any backpacking or fast packing with this pack. I strictly use it for running or day hiking. But I wanted to feel the difference between these two storage methods to see which one I liked most. And after fiddling around with both, I have to say that the Salomon quiver wins in my book in terms of ease of use. I don't have to stretch an elastic and duck my head trying to get this thing in the right position. With the quiver, it's already in the right position. All I have to do is stuff the poles in there. And quickly, I just wanted to show off my favorite trekking pole storage solution, which is on the chest pockets of certain packs. The Black Diamond Distance 22 does not have this option. Here, I'm still using the Salomon Advanced Skin 12. The Z-pole is a little bit tall, so you can see it pokes my belly. However, if I switch over to the 4-piece trekking pole, that fits perfectly. Now back to the Distance 22, I have a Salomon soft flask here that holds 500 milliliters of water. The bottle height is perfect to drink from, and there's also a cinch cord that can wrap around the bottle to prevent it from bouncing around. The pockets are large enough to hold hard water bottles as well. Here's a Kirkland Signature, I believe 500 milliliter water bottle. However, the bottom does poke out a little bit. And here's the classic 1-liter smart water bottle. It also fits surprisingly well, but similarly to the Kirkland Signature bottle, the bottom pokes out a little bit. Lastly, I have my favorite water bottle, which is the Raid Light Argo 600 milliliter water bottle. What I love about this hard bottle is, one, it has a straw, but also it's slightly contoured, so it is still poking out a little bit there, but it is more comfortable than the other water bottles. Of course, you've got 2 water bottle pockets. You also have 2 zip pockets, which are layered on top of the water bottle pockets, and 2 other stash pockets that are also layered on top. You also got these 2 side pockets. that surprisingly you can fit a decent amount of stuff in. Here I have a wind shirt. Stuff it down, it fits in there well and snug. And here I have some wind pants that once you roll down can also be stuffed into that pocket. Despite looking really similar to the Solomon pack, it doesn't fit the same due to this large gap between the pack and the bag. Now if you compare that to the Solomon Advanced Skin 12 pack, you will see that there is no gap. Based on the construction of the pack, the Solomon construction allows the bag to really hug your body. There's two closure mechanisms for this bag. The first is this flap at the top you see here, and the next is this cinch, drawstring cinch. The bag's easy to open, it's easy to close, but you are left with all this string material. You can stuff it in the bag, it's kind of annoying, or you can stuff it to the side, which is also not great. I wish they had a specific area where you can hide that string. You will see my head pop in every once in a while, sorry about that. This hole right here is for the water bladder to come out. A big issue here is that the top cover, the turquoise part, does not extend over to cover the tube opening. I've tested this myself and water does come in through that hole. The outside mesh pocket is fairly stretchy, however it's not as large as I'd like it to be. The pole storage pockets are really small and tight. The bag can be cinched down further, however the toggle is on the inside of the stretch pocket and it's a bit difficult to use. The bottom of the pack has the ice axe loops. I don't have an ice axe to test it unfortunately. The pack has two sternum straps, one of them is stretchy, one of them is not. However, there is a small portion on the side which is stretchy for both of them. One issue I have though is that the sides are also stretchy, so with the stretchy sides and the stretchy sternum straps, in my opinion, it's just way too much stretch. Here is the sternum strap adjustment. It's pretty easy. You slide it out, find a strap that's in the position that you like, then slide it back in, then give it a little tug to clip it in. Now let's talk about that gap issue that I mentioned before, the gap at the bottom of the pack. I'm going to bring over my Advanced Skin 12 so that way you can see the difference. The bottom of the Advanced Skin 12 tapers slightly inwards, while the Distance 22 actually flares outwards. Now both of these packs are packed with clothes, nothing special. This flared out shape is what causes the bottom of the pack to have that gap. As I squeeze the sides, you can see how wide that bottom is versus the Advanced Skin 12 is very tight and form-fitting. Due to this, I've found that the Distance 22 is not as comfortable as my Advanced Skin 12 or my other fast packs. Since the Distance 22 is advertised as a backpack that's capable of being used in the winter, I thought I would test opening and closing the bag with these mittens on. Now, with these mittens, I do have the index finger separated. It's a bit clunky as expected, however it's definitely usable. Now let's flip the bag inside out to take a look at the inside compartments. Here's the water bladder storage. I don't have a water bladder to test it with, however I assume it can fit up to 2 liters. There's also a clip that can hold the water bladder in place. Layered on top of the bladder pocket is a 7x5 stretchy mesh zipped pocket. These flaps are the Z-pole storage. Now if the bag was right side in, these flaps would be facing inwards, and while you put your Z-poles in, they would be compressing whatever's already in the bag. That's why it's so hard to stuff in. This bag uses a surprisingly large amount of glue. I guess it shouldn't be that much of a surprise because Black Diamond does advertise this as a stitchless edge taping technology. Personally, I prefer stitching, however, time will tell to see how durable this is. Let's talk about the straps now that we have them in front of us. These straps are painfully thin, at least in my opinion and in my use case. I'm going to once again compare this with my Advanced Skin 12, and I know this camera angle doesn't really show the difference that well. However, trust me, the Advanced Skin 12 is at least double the thickness. Using calipers to measure isn't the most exact measurement I can do because the material can be compressed. However, it's the best I could do. The distance 22 is about 1 millimeter thick, while the advanced skin 12 is about 2.5 to 2 millimeters thick. My first run with this backpack was at 12 pounds, including 1 liter of water. Within the first few steps, I could already feel the bag bouncing around a lot and pain in my shoulders due to the straps. Even after lowering to 8 pounds and doing a simple hike, it was still very uncomfortable to the point of being unbearable. I definitely won't be using this pack again.
Alright, let's conclude this video so I can go pack. This bag is not for me. There's far too much stretch. There's far too much bounce. The opening to open the bag, I don't like that. I much prefer a simple roll top. The hole where the bladder pack tube goes through is really poorly placed and water can get inside of that. The Z-pole side storage pouch I'll never use just because of how inconvenient that is, and so it's just added weight. The on-the-go pole storage as well, I'll also probably never use that just because that motion is really uncomfortable, and I'm always going to have something in that mesh pocket, which makes that on-the-go pole storage a lot more difficult, basically almost unusable. And lastly, the ice axe holder is a nice addition for whoever needs that, but I don't need that, so that's just added weight. I hope you found this video helpful. I gotta go pack. Happy trails.